Feminism is the belief and advocacy that all people are entitled to the same political, social, and economic rights and liberties. Recently, feminism has set its focus on many issues in society, such as body image, the wage gap, and sexual violence. Sexual harassment and assault have been something I, as well as many of my friends, have been personally affected by. I am still in shock that more attention hasn't been drawn to this situation because of the epidemic rates at which sexual assault is occurring in our country. 1 in 4 women and 1 in 6 men have been impacted by sexual violence. 99% of perpetrators of sexual assault are male, 60% of those being white males. Dr. David Lisak studied this phenomenon and described what he calls the undetected rapist. He studied 1,882 men and found 120 men whose self-reported acts met legal definitions of rape or attempted rape. He found that these 120 rapists were responsible for 1,225 separate acts of violence, including rape, battery, and child abuse. As he interviewed these men, he found that they would describe a sexual assault, but oftentimes felt that they were just sexual encounters and were not violent. One interview was particularly shocking.
Can you describe what happened and the specific occasion you referred to in your questionnaire?
Yeah, sure. I had this girl staked out. I picked her out in one of my classes, worked on her. She was all prepped. I was watching for her, and the minute she walked into the door of the party, I was on her. And she was really good looking, too. We started drinking together, and I could tell she was nervous. I could tell she was nervous because, she was drinking that stuff so fast.
What was she drinking?
Well, it was some kind of punch we'd made, the usual thing.
Did she know it was spiked with alcohol?
I don't really know, although she must have after a while, because she started to get plastered in just a few minutes. And, so I started making my moves on her. And after a while, I asked her if she wanted to go up to my room, get away from the noise. And she came right away. So actually, it wasn't my room. We always had several rooms designated before the party, that were all prepped for this.
Designated rooms?
Yeah, we'd set aside a few rooms, bring the girls up to once they were ready.
What happened when you got to the designated room?
Well, she was really woozy by this time, so I brought up another drink, and sat her down on one of the beds, sat down next to her, and pretty soon I just made my move. I don't remember exactly what I did first. I probably, leaned her down on the bed, started working on her clothes, feeling her up.
How did she respond?
I don't remember. I started working her blouse off, and I think she might have said something. I don't remember. I didn't expect her to get into it right away.
Did she say anything?
Yeah, at some point she started saying things like, I don't want to do this right away or something like that. I just kept working on her clothes, and she started squirming, but that actually helped because her blouse came off easier. And I kind of leaned on her, kept feeling her up, get her more into it. And she tried to push me off, so I pushed her back down.
Were you angry?
No, but, it pissed me off that she played along the whole way and then decided to squirm out of it like that at the end. I mean, she was so plastered, she probably didn't know what was going on anyway. I don't know. Maybe that's why she started pushing on me, but, I just kept leaning on her, pulling off her clothes. And at some point, she stopped squirming. I don't know. Maybe she passed out. Her eyes were closed.
What happened?
I fucked her.
Did you have to lean on her, hold her down when you did it?
Yeah, I had my arm across her chest like this, That's how I did it.
The first time I ever saw that interview was when I joined SHARP, the Sexual Harassment and Rape Prevention Program, at UNH. SHARP aims to empower anyone who has been affected by sexual harassment, rape, stalking, and domestic violence. To empower myself, I wanted to understand why these men felt no remorse or responsibility for their actions. Feminism helped me see some of the issues in our society that have let sexual violence become an epidemic. The issue lies within sexism, heterosexism, and the media. Men are taught that masculinity and dominance proves manhood, and that aggression is an acceptable response to anyone questioning that. They are taught that homosexuality or an inability to obtain a woman question their manhood. The media then portrays women as objects and hypersexualizes them. The media portrays an ideal woman, who in reality is unattainable to even the models in the media. In advertisements, women are shown looking dead, attacked, or even dominated by men.
Ladies, do you think rape is something men do out of a desire for control, empowered by years of patriarchy? You've clearly been misled by the notion that women are people too. Because let's face it, ladies, rape, it's your fault. It all begins with what you wear. Scientific studies suggest that women who wear skirts are the leading cause of rape. Do you know why? Because men have eyes. In fact, here are some examples of provocative clothing that could cause rape. Now, before we go, let's not forget, if you're tired of being humiliated by rape, you can always go to the cops and be humiliated by them instead.
Madam, when rape was happened, were you with boys?
No, not...
Why you went out without boys' protection?
Well, actually, there were a couple of my friends there.
See, you are with boys at night. What will happen? So, what did we learn today?
It's my fault? Thank you, officer, thank you. And lastly, ladies, stop seducing juveniles into raping you. They get let off easy, and that just makes you a statutory rapist. And whose fault is that? It's your fault!
In a male-dominated world, nobody questions male violence. Instead, men put the blame onto women because we aren't privileged, because we are less than. This society has been teaching girls to cover up and to stop distracting boys with looks, while simultaneously saying boys will be boys whenever a boy is violent or acts inappropriately. We have started teaching girls not to get raped instead of teaching society not to rape. This needs to end. Shaming survivors is not acceptable. As a feminist, I would like to see our society start supporting survivors. It should be easier to send your rapist to jail, but it is not. Instead, survivors end up feeling attacked by our justice system and by their community. Steps need to be made so that rapists are sent to prison, so that survivors have a community of support, so that everyone is taught that sexual violence is never acceptable. I am a feminist, and I support this movement.